What's up, team? Brandon here from Go Headquarters coming at you with today's full breakdown. So today, guys, is about some running repeats and then pushing and pulling for strength of the upper body. So to kick things off, ideally you're going to do this warm-up in our run repeats outside today. So if you're working with limited space, this one's going to be a little bit tough, but try to make the biggest amount of space you've got in the living room, down the aisle in the house, whatever you've got, okay? So we're going to do a number of drills that help you get ready for your run repeats. So bear with me that these drills are designed to prep us for that. So to start, we're just going to do running forward and backwards. Ideally, these warm-ups would take place over, about a 30-meter distance. So if you can picture, us heading outside into our parking lot here and covering kind of the length of our parking lot. So what I would have you guys do is we're going to run forwards there, and then we're going to run backwards coming back, okay? If you don't have space, you could just be running in place. Then we're going to do the same distance for lateral shuffle. So we're going to do left leg going there, right leg leading, coming back. The next drill I would have you do is skipping, okay? Same thing, we can do that forward and we can do that backward. Then our next one is going to be high knee running. So picking those knees up nice and high. So quite different, quite a bit more energy requirement there than just regular running. Then we can do Frankenstein kicks on our return. So stiff arms, straight leg, kicking towards the opposite arm. That's opening up the hams. And then our last one would be pose running drill. So this one always gets a lot of giggles in groups. So this is what we call pulling in pose running. So I'll show this from the front. So I'm running from the side, or I'm running forward, excuse me. And then what I'm gonna do is, in this example, I'm gonna pull with my right leg. So I'm trying to pull my heel directly up to my butt. But my other leg is kind of just cycling low like a shuffle. Now I can do this with forward locomotion, so I could get running in place and then pull, 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 pull. And then I would do the other leg, of course, coming back. So now my left leg would pull. And that should get that leg speed cycling, and it should warm up that hamstring, something fierce of that pulling leg. Okay, so that's called pulling within the pose running scheme of drills, okay? So get through all of those tasks. You should feel pretty good if you're covering a good amount of distance for all those warm-ups. Then next up, we're gonna do 3 rounds of 400-meter runs with a 1-minute rest interval after each round. Now, my goal for you on this routine today is to do this faster each time. So your third and final round should be your fastest. But that doesn't mean sandbag the first 2 so that you can easily say, yes, my third one was the fastest. I want these to be relatively tight margins. So maybe the spread amongst all 3 rounds is only about 15 seconds, okay? So you need to kind of pace out the first and second round accordingly. But I do want your third one to be a really solid effort, but it should be faster than your previous 2 rounds. So you're gonna run 400 meters, rest a minute. Run 400, rest a minute, run a final 400. And then you can just catch a breather and stretch out your legs a little bit before moving on to our strength portion. But right now, let's move on to our strength portion. So we're gonna do some bench press and straight arm pull downs. So bench press, if you guys have bench press, feel free to change the rep scheme that I have on the agenda today, because you probably have, a barbell with a lot more weight options. Some of the programming I'm choosing these days are assuming that everybody at home only has 1 pair of dumbbells, maybe 2, so I'm kind of high repping this. So adjust your reps as needed, folks at home. But the goal today is to do 5 rounds of 20 back and forth between bench press and straight arm pull downs. So I don't have a bench, so I'm just gonna do floor press. So I've got my dumbbells just outside the chest. My elbows are gonna run into the ground, so make sure you're not hitting hard there and compressing. And then I'm just gonna press up to a fully extended arm, nice and smooth, 20 times. Now I could get creative too on what I'm doing my bench press on. So maybe I have like a piano bench that's really strong and stable. Maybe I have a stability ball that I can balance on, and that will get me more range of motion. Maybe I could do this on a narrow box or something like that that does allow my elbows to pass through deeper. So kind of check around, see what you've got. You might be surprised that you could do a full bench press as opposed to a floor press. So for every set of 20 there, we're gonna come on over here to my imaginary doorway, and we're gonna do 20 straight arm pull downs. So what I want you guys to do here, I just have one of my pull-up bands. So obviously you guys can scale this as needed depending on your bands, and you can choke up your grip. So if I have a pretty sturdy door, and I open up that door so that I am facing the spine of the door, right? I can take this and just sling it over the spine of that door and make sure it's got a pretty good purchase and it's pretty far onto that doorway. And I'm gonna keep an eye on that and make sure it's not slipping off. So then I'm gonna grab one strand per hand, straight arms, stand up nice and straight, and with straight arms I'm gonna pull down towards my pockets and I'm gonna squeeze my shoulders down and back. So this is a straight arm pull down. All right, so this should be training our lats, like those swimming muscles. So we should be feeling that there. And then as we squeeze our shoulder blades, we should feel some tension between our blades as well. All right, so we're only coming back up to about shoulder height. So 5 rounds, 20 presses, 20 straight arm pull downs. And then we move on. So for our next combo for upper body, this is a 10 down to 1 scheme. Back and forth between push-ups and strict pull-ups. Now, the idea behind this, guys, is to do everything unbroken, and you need to rest as needed to allow that unbroken standard. So we're gonna do 10 push-ups, the hardest kind you think you can do for this routine. So I'm gonna do mine from the toes, chest all the way to the floor, elbows in, nice tight plank, and then full lockout. So I'm gonna do 10 of those. Then I'm gonna rest long enough and then go do 10 pull-ups. Now, if I don't have a pull-up bar, you've got a couple other pulling options. If you have a really, really sturdy like office desk or dining room table or something like that that's really built well, you can actually do like what we call a low bar pull-up, similar to ring rows, from underneath the table edge. So I know some of you guys at home are doing that for Murph right now. Another option would be to take your band and do basically a low band row. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loop this around the midfoot. For safety, we can add an additional coil. So now my feet are literally tied together. That way that band doesn't slip off my feet as easily. And I can sit up tall and then get a good pull and a good squeeze here. Now this is obviously a heck of a lot easier than pull-ups, guys. So maybe double or triple the reps and just keep getting good squeezes out of that. So back and forth, 10 reps apiece between push-ups and pull-ups. Then we go 9 and 9, 8 and 8, 7 and 7, 6 and 6, all the way down until we're at 1 and 1. But again, the goal is to do everything strict and unbroken. So typically the pull-ups are gonna be harder for most of us than the push-ups. So scaling those pull-ups as needed to make that unbroken is gonna be maybe the trick here. For those of you that are gonna rock out those push-ups, feel free to add a weight vest. You know, do your push-ups with a band. So I know we've gone over that before. So if I loop this band across my back and I have that anchored through my hands, I can get into my push-up position, and now you're gonna see how that band is acting as additional weight for my push-up. So get creative, guys, with what you've got access to at home for all of these things. So 10 down to 1, push-ups, strict pull-ups. Then we're gonna cash out with just a little core work. So we're gonna do some side planks. 3 rounds, 10 each way, side planks and Russian twists. So our side plank, elbow under the shoulder, legs are stacked, body's gonna be nice and straight. I'm gonna get my hips nice and high. The top hand ideally is floating off the ground, but it can be on the ground to assist if you need to. I'm gonna bump my hip to the ground, raise up as high as I possibly can. So I'm gonna do 10 of those. If you need to make this lighter, we can do this from a bent knee, just like we would do kneeling push-ups, and this makes this a heck of a lot lighter. So for those of you struggling with side planks, maybe give this a shot today. So 10 of those each way. And then we're gonna grab maybe a light dumbbell, a ball of some kind, and we're gonna do Russian twists. So the premise behind this is that I'm balancing on my butt, my legs are off the ground, I'm reclined just a little bit, so you can see those angles. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate from side to side and touch my dumbbell or my, the ball or whatever it is to each side. So I'm trying to rotate from the trunk, right? I'm not just moving my arms, I'm trying to actually get a core twist. So keep that in mind while you're doing those Russian twists. So cashing out today with that core work, 3 rounds, 10 per side planks, and then 10 each way Russian twists. Give that one a shot, guys. Hopefully you get some good run repeat times in, and then a good little upper body pump. Hit it hard, stay fit, stay safe. We'll see you next time.